It started with a creak. I remember it clearly. I had just moved into the house, an old, two-story brick place that had been empty for years before I bought it. The realtor had said it was full of character. I guess that was her way of softening the fact that the house had clearly seen better days. The floors groaned, the windows rattled in the wind, and there was this unsettling smell, like musty wood mixed with something else, something old. But I didn't mind. I liked the idea of living somewhere with a bit of history, and the price was right. My first night alone in the house was exciting at first, just me and the emptiness. The only sound was the occasional tick of the old clock on the wall. But around 2 a.m., I heard it, a soft, faint creak, like someone walking across the floor above me. But around 2 a.m., I heard it, a soft, faint creak, like someone walking across the floor above me. A chilling realization washed over me as I looked up at the ceiling, feeling a presence lurking in the attic. I froze, listening. I was alone. I checked the locks on the doors again, just in case I'd forgotten to secure one. There was nothing. Yet the creak continued. The sound was coming from the attic. I froze, listening. I was alone. I checked the locks on the doors again, just in case I'd forgotten to secure one. There was nothing. Yet the creak continued. The sound was coming from the attic. I tried to dismiss it as the house settling. Maybe a rat, I thought. I told myself I was overthinking things. But that night, the creaks got louder, more deliberate. It wasn't like the house settling at all, it was like someone was pacing up there, slowly and methodically, making their way back and forth. I didn't sleep a wink. The next morning, I grabbed a ladder and went up into the attic, hoping to find a reasonable explanation. Maybe a loose floorboard, or a box that had shifted. But when I opened the attic door, a cold draft hit me, and the air inside was thick with dust. I turned on the light, and the small, cramped space came into view. Old furniture covered in white sheets, forgotten boxes stacked haphazardly against the wall, and at the far end, a heavy wooden chest. There was no sign of anything unusual, no evidence of rats or any movement. I convinced myself it had been the wind or a settling beam. But as I turned to leave, I noticed something strange, a small, dusty footprint on the floor, leading from the corner near the chest to the center of the room. The print was clear enough to make out the shape of a shoe, but it was small, almost childlike. I felt a chill run down my spine. I hadn't seen that print when I'd first opened the door. Had it been there the whole time? I shut the attic door quickly and went downstairs to try to shake off the feeling. Over the next few days, the sounds continued, soft creaks and scraping noises in the middle of the night. And each time, they seemed to get closer. Eventually, the noise would stop just above my bedroom, where the attic was located. It felt like someone, or something, was standing there, watching me. I tried to ignore it, but one night, unable to take it anymore, I grabbed a flashlight and went up into the attic again. My heart was pounding as I stepped into the dimly lit space. The air was cold, much colder than the rest of the house, and my breath hung in the air like mist. I shone the light toward the chest in the corner. It was open. The chest wasn't there when I'd checked earlier that day. I could have sworn I hadn't touched it. I approached it slowly, dread curling in my stomach. The inside was empty, save for a few pieces of torn fabric that looked like old clothing. I began to back away, but just as I turned to leave, the floor creaked behind me. I spun around. The thing in the attic wasn't human. It was small, just the size of a child, but its face was wrong. Hollowed eyes, dark and lifeless, peering out from the shadows. The thing's skin was ashen, almost gray, and it had an unnatural, jerking movement as it crawled closer toward me. It didn't make a sound, but I could feel it, feel the eyes on me, the weight of its presence. My heart raced. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. The thing moved faster now, scuttling toward me, its limbs too long, too thin, like a spider crawling out of the darkness. I ran. I bolted out of the attic and slammed the door behind me, gasping for air. The thing didn't follow. I heard nothing. The house was silent again, too silent. I didn't sleep that night. Or the next. The next morning, I called an exterminator to come look for rats. He found nothing. When I asked if the house had ever had any strange occurrences, he hesitated. Then, after a long pause, he mentioned that the previous owner, an elderly woman, had passed away in the house. He said she'd lived alone for years, but he'd heard rumors. People whispered about strange noises coming from the attic. But he didn't know any details. I haven't been back to the attic since. I still hear the sounds sometimes, at night, just above my bedroom, pacing slowly back and forth. I've learned to sleep with earplugs, but there are nights when I wake, And I swear I can still feel those eyes on me. I swear I can still feel those eyes on me. Watching. Waiting. Something is up there, and I don't think it plans on leaving anytime soon.